Hi, my name is Lauren, and I am a survivor of extreme domestic violence. I was isolated on a desert for 7 months and brutally tortured, of which I have extensive video and audio evidence. I escaped 3 years ago and have been fighting for justice ever since. My abuser still walks free. In this video, me and my bestie Grey answer some of your questions from Instagram. I want to thank you so much for being here and for all the support. Now on to the video. Hi!
Hello!
This is our question video, numero dos.
Deuces!
Part 2. We're on a hike, and we're going to answer some questions as we go.
Come with us.
Let's go!
So, do you feel like your ability to trust people has been changed forever?
Honestly, no, not at all. I think I trust people more. Which might seem foolish, but it's because I trust myself so much. That I trust myself to be able to assess and see red flags now, and to trust my intuition, and to get out of there if I need to. I trust until I'm proven otherwise, and I would rather live that way. So
you trust if situations get bad, you'll be able to handle it.
Exactly. And I trust my initial instinct as well.
Do you feel like you've been in situations similar to him where you've noticed that you're able to register red flags?
Yeah, I mean, nowhere near as bad as him, but I have met people that exhibit similar behaviors and tactics, and I'm like, I'm getting out of here. But I trust myself, so I trust other people.
It's a very humanistic approach.
Yeah, I'm glad that I have that mindset.
You like people.
I do like people.
I think it's impressive that after everything you've been through, you still have such a love for people.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that ever went away?
I think I love people more than I ever have. Also because I think even before my relationship, I was full of shame.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember telling my therapist that I don't feel ready to go out and meet people because I didn't like the version of myself that I was. So I felt like I would be coming into relationships, friendships, what have you, as a version of myself that I didn't fully relate to. And that was right before I met my ex. So I feel like I'm just so much more myself now and so much more willing to put myself out there, and I love myself, so I love people more as a result.
You love yourself, so you love people more.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I love that. What are your main coping skills that help you keep staying balanced? Asking as a therapist. Much love.
I think my biggest thing is making sure that I am pursuing joy and pursuing peace. So prioritizing balance. I think I have a good read on myself now when I am getting out of balance, when my mind is getting busy, when I'm getting stressed out. I can feel when reliving so much of my trauma starts to weigh on me, and that's the point when I realize I need to prioritize joy and peace. I have been implementing like daily meditations, like 5 to 10, 15-minute meditations throughout the day, just randomly. Like I'll go to the gym and just sit in my car for 5 minutes afterwards, completely silent, and just watch my thoughts and try to recenter myself. Staying active is a big one. I think really my main coping skill since I got out was just like one foot in front of the other, handle it day by day, and then just pursue joy and peace has been my biggest thing.
What is your coping skills when like your fear gets too much?
I ask myself whether it's rooted in reality, whether I have something in reality showing me that I need to be fearful. And then I call you. Then I call Grey.
Okay, then what's your coping skill for if you're overwhelmed?
Taking a few breaths, for sure, centering myself.
You have your ice baths and your meditation.
Yeah, I recently got into ice baths and saunas. I've never really been big on either of those, and I love it. I love ice baths in particular because I love the journey of meeting so much resistance. I'm like, oh, I really don't want to get cold. And then I'm in it, and I'm like, oh, can I get out now? And then going through the journey of, let me sit and relax and stay in. I get my mind away from how many seconds is left or what is on the clock, and I travel through the resistance until I get to a point of peace and stability. And that practice, it carries on for probably at least a week.
Wow.
Yeah, just I love the practice of traveling through resistance and getting to the other side. And I don't mean like getting to the other side, getting out of the cold plunge, but like getting to the other side where I'm at peace in the cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, traveling through the resistance. Same with like when I do sprints, it's the same thing. I meet so much resistance. I don't want to do this today. And I'm like, how many more do I have? But traveling through getting to the acceptance phase and finding peace within it and finding the present moment. I think that's really what it comes down to, is being in the present moment instead of all these thoughts.
I love that. I think it's good advice too. I picked this question because you definitely don't know this.
Okay.
Do you know how many of us look up to you? How wonderfully you've navigated this horrific terrain and how many lives you've helped? I hope it's yes, but I don't think you'll ever really know how great your impact is.
Aww. No. I don't think I realize. I know that so many people are reaching out to me and telling me about how I'm influencing their lives. I've had numerous people reach out to me and tell me that they've left their abusive relationship as a result of seeing my abuse. And I mean, that is probably the greatest gift that could come out of what I went through. But do I know? No. No. But I'm grateful.
The reason why this question points out to me is because that's what inspires people. Is because people have this belief that, like, there's some things you go through that break you irreparably.
Yeah.
And when they see the evidence that you post online, I think most people go like, that should break a person irreparably.
Yeah.
But it hasn't.
I think my mindset was like, I just lived through absolute hell. I'm going to make sure that I take care of me so that I have the most beautiful, my biggest, best dream life I possibly can. Because I did not go through hell to continue to live through hell on the other side of it. And so I've just made up here a very happy place to live to the best of my abilities. Not all the time, but to the best of my abilities. And then, made the changes of my environment that I needed to make sure that things were good too.
But this is what I think you don't see, is it's like the fact you're able to see beauty is what inspires most people.
Yeah.
It's like the fact you put in the work in is already inspiring, like, oh my God. But it's the ability to experience what you experienced and still look at the world as still having good things in it.
Yeah. I think I'm just blessed that my mindset was automatically that. I think that I've always been a pretty big optimist, just naturally. But I think my mindset was just like, I wanted to have more fun than I've ever had in my entire life once I came on the other side of that. Like, I've never wanted so much fun. I got out and I was like, honestly, it sounds so crazy. I might be delusional. I don't know. But, like, I got out and I was like, heaven on earth is all around me. That is literally how I felt. Like, I was like, why are we not so grateful for all of this every day? Like, heaven on earth is all around me and I want to live in it. And I also am a big believer of, we are having this human experience so that we can experience everything. And I experienced the depths of pain that I went through. And so now I'm going to experience the depths of joy and happiness and peace, especially peace.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's what inspires me. How do you deal with the guilt of feeling stupid for the situation you find yourself in? I am not judging or meaning this offensively. I am a survival of childhood abuse and still deal with these feelings. I tell myself I was a child. I know, right? It's really sad. I was a child, and that's how I get through it. I'm just wondering what an adult might be able to say to themselves to get out of that spiral of thinking. Thanks.
Much love to you, first of all. And you were a child. It's not your fault. I kind of say the same thing. Not that I was a child, but I was young and I didn't know better. Like, if I knew better, I wouldn't have been in that situation. And I can't fault myself for not knowing better. I know better now. I don't feel stupid about what I went through. It's interesting because, like, even last night I was looking at some stuff and I was talking to him and I was just like, how did I not see it? How did I not see it? But at the time I didn't see it. I didn't see it and I can't fault myself. I can just be happy that I know better now and I'm not going to find myself in that situation ever again.
I saw you almost.
Yeah, I was like, the camera's falling.
I think that really is the best position and advice you can give, because the idea that you were stupid for the situation that you found yourself in is a negative thought pattern that keeps you revisiting your trauma.
Yeah. And it's just like, don't beat yourself up. Learn, but don't beat yourself up. Like, you've been beat up enough.
yeah. And it's real easy to say. It's really
Of course.
Just stop feeling stupid.
Yeah.
But I would like, the best way to handle these thoughts is to challenge them. It's not to just like let them smooth through your brain. You have to like you have to parent yourself.
Yeah, you got to communicate with those thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And challenge them and make sure that you are making an active decision to make yourself not feel stupid.
Yeah.
If you keep doing that relentlessly, eventually things will change.
Yeah. And I really like the reparenting. Like, whenever I need to talk to myself in a kind way when I'm struggling with something, I would always be like, think of myself as like a little girl. And I'd be like, Lauren, you're not stupid. You're like, I know why you're feeling that way because of X, Y, and Z, but look, you didn't know better.
It really is good advice because you got to think, like, if you were not parented as a child, then you don't have the tools, resources,
That foundation.
or anything to handle most of the things you're going to face as an adult. So now, as an adult, it's unfortunate you have to do it, but you have to parent yourself
Yeah.
in the ways you were not parented as a child, or
Yeah.
else...
With so much love.
Yeah.
The most loving parenting ever.
Good parenting.
compassionate and gentle and soft and full of self-hugs.
Yeah. Endlessly unconditional love for yourself. That's the only way you get out of thought spirals like this.
And compassion. Because honestly, like, I think of the girl that was living in that, and would I ever go up to her and be like, you're so stupid? No, like, I would have grabbed her and been like, come here. You know? So.
Yeah, so if you're not going to call yourself stupid in person, then you shouldn't do it in your brain.
Yeah.
As best you can.
Yeah. But I understand, like, even looking at that, like, I could look at myself in the desert and be like, Lauren, why didn't you do, like, that was so stupid. Why didn't you do this? And why this and that? But it was just because I didn't know better. Oh, look.
How do I get me a gray? An alien. It's so isolating being a DV survivor.
Yeah.
I have not made any friends in 16 years, plus 15 that I was married to my abuser.
Aww.
So she was married for 15 years and hasn't had a friend in a year out since her abuser, I think.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, I was just lucky enough.
There really was chance, man.
I was just doing some parkour, and this dude was like, hey, I want to do parkour. Because he did parkour back in the day, and that was that. But I think finding friends is so important in the aftermath, and abuse is so misunderstood. I can understand why it's so isolating. But I think you got to really put yourself out there and have intention with meeting people and intention with starting up conversations and having meaningful conversations.
Here's an idea. Like, so the other day you walked up to a dude who's riding a skateboard. You go really far out of your way to make friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when I see someone that I vibe with, I'm going to approach them and just see. Like, I mean, I love complimenting people. I love telling people what I like about them when I see them, and a lot of times that will spark a connection. I'm good at identifying when I like someone's energy, and then I put intention behind making a connection and making friends with them.
How would you speak to a DV survivor about making friends after the things that they've gone through? Because there is the just do it side of things, but like, I don't know, how you psych yourself up, how you gear yourself for it, because like, you were paranoid once upon a time.
I didn't trust anyone. I had to move through the phase of, I literally thought that anyone could be in cahoots with my ex and put me in danger. And I had to move through that before I could start making friends, for sure.
So do you think that, like, it's best just to heal internally until you're able to...
I don't really love that advice, because on one hand, yes, but then also, will you ever feel like...
Will you ever be ready?
Yeah, like, I think you heal more from having friendships and relationships. So I think you have to be in a place where you can get yourself to go out and meet friends. Like...
Yeah.
And a lot of that is if you are desiring friends, then you have to make the effort. If you're desiring friends, you're ready.
Yeah. That's a pretty good point. You weren't desiring friends when you were paranoid.
No. But if you are, then you're ready, and then you just need to be intentional about it. And, you know, you don't need to have expectations with it. You just go out and start meeting people, and some people will be your people and some people won't. And some people will be your people for a little bit, and then it turns out they're not. And, you know, but I think I've been so grateful for all the relationships that I've made since my abuse. And not all of those I have currently, but I'm grateful for when I did have them.
Do you think you instigated most of them?
All of them.
So it really is
very close to all of them.
It really is just do it.
Yeah. If you're desiring friendships, then you need to put in the intention and the effort to put yourself out there, which can be scary when you have gone through something like abuse, and when that's like relationship abuse. I mean, it's just scary not wanting that to happen again. But you will know whether or not you are in a place to identify the red flags.
Yeah. You have to trust yourself.
You do have to trust yourself, and you have to trust your judgment.
So maybe not heal internally, but gain a sense of internal trust.
Yeah, and self-worth, and trusting your intuition, and trusting feedback. Like, if someone does something that doesn't feel good, look into that.
Yeah. Don't let things slide.
Yeah.
I'm gonna scare them.
Oh, I don't want to scare them. They're good people. Hi.
I got so scared.
We're in a tree.
Really? Did you ever try to coddle him to see if he would be kind?
That's all I did. That's literally all I did. All I did was fawn and take care of him and be loving. Sometimes, though, he would say that, like, I needed to stop pitying him when I would try to be, like, really, really soft and loving, which was all the time. But he would sometimes say that I needed to stop pitying him. But yeah, all I did was try to coddle and love on him. That was really my main choice.
But the problem is it didn't ever seem to work.
It didn't work, but I think it probably would have worked better than me fighting back.
Yes. I mean, it was just a survival decision.
Yeah, but I also wonder how much I pissed him off by me never reacting.
Yeah. I mean, he basically just had like a drone around that he would beat.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't do anything. You just...
I never fought back. And what was really weird about the way he would beat me a lot of the times is he would literally position my body to beat me. And I find that very interesting. It was very rarely, like, was it a surprise? He would always be like, I am going to beat you now. And he would put me against the wall or put me on a floor. And he always said that he did that to stop my head going back and to stop me from breaking a jaw. And he would position my body to beat me. So almost every time I had a heads up, which I think helped. I do think it helped.
You said the scarier ones were when he didn't position you.
Right. When it was a complete shock was way scarier to me. Way scarier. Yeah. Because it would just come out of nowhere. Like, I remember there was one time I was holding Nunu in my lap and he just slapped me, backhanded me with Nunu. And that one, like, and same, he pushed me down in the RV once and I didn't see that one coming. I mean, there were quite a number of times that he did it without me knowing, having a heads up. But those were always so much scarier. And they were almost more filled with rage. Like, the times that he would set me up just seemed so much... They were controlled.
Well, he was getting something different out of it.
Yeah.
Than the rageful
the
moments.
Rage, like, just surprise moments were really, 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 really scary and just caught me off guard. It helped. I don't remember what I was thinking in the moments before I was getting hit. Like, when I knew I was about to get hit. I don't remember what I was thinking. But just having the heads up made it a lot easier.
Well, you had told me before that you just kind of went on autopilot.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can remember what it felt like to stand up against the wall in certain parts of the RV and where he would put me and what that felt like waiting for it. Just bizarre that he would...
This was like a punishment thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he did it constantly. It was his main form of physical abuse, was positioning me to beat me. And it was always, after he was angry about some fictitious thing that never even happened.
Well, positioning you almost is like treating you like a child.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, just something to completely control.
Mm-hmm.
Go stand against that wall and I'm going to punch you.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But yes, I did spend a lot of time trying to coddle him.
It kept you alive.
Yeah, it did keep me alive. But yeah.
Now we're here.
Now we're here in a tree.
When do we step in for a friend, or do we mind our business?
Never mind your business. Never, ever, ever mind your business. I think you always step in different capacities, whatever the friend is receptive to. You'll know when like you've reached a limit with that friend, and don't try to go past that limit. But bringing up the behaviors that you're seeing, bringing up the abusive behaviors, and if they already know that they're in an abusive relationship, just letting them know that you are always going to be there to help them get out. And to the extent that the victim will allow you, start planning ways and telling them, if you ever need to come here, you can come here. Here's where a key is. This is what we can do. This is how we'll get you out. Just letting them know. But identifying to them the abusive behaviors that you're seeing, I think, is paramount, and never mind your business, in my opinion.
And she never does. How can I spot someone who is in a similar situation and needs help, but they don't know if I'm the right person to ask and tell? How do I spot it and help them feel like I'm a safe space?
Oh wait, how do you spot it? Spot the narcissist first.
Pay attention to the man.
Spot the abuser, and then you'll know you need to help the girl.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. Because I don't know. I mean, victims can appear very, very happy with their abusers and are most of the time catering to them and being sweet. And I don't know that you would necessarily see it on the victim. I think I would be able to identify it, which I guess is the question. I think spotting it in a victim is probably harder if you haven't been a victim, because you can, once you know what it feels like, it's easier to see it on someone else, which is why I think I say identify the abuser, because that is a lot easier to spot, I think.
Such good advice. Yeah, because like a victim is going to be quieter, right?
Yeah.
Is going to be more closed in.
And they're going to be catering to their abuser. They're going to look very in love with their abuser most of the time.
Yeah. It's so much easier to find a narcissist, but I think the problem is that as a man, you would have had to deconstruct a lot of the male narcissistic tendencies that are instilled in us, societally, to then register, oh, that person is doing that. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like, it seems sexist to say, look at the woman. The woman's the victim here, and she's going to be hiding. You'd have to pay attention to her body language. You have to pay attention to what she's saying, why she's saying it. It would require...
It's a lot harder to spot, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot easier to see a narcissist and abusive behaviors. I also think, like, in my case, high levels of PDA. To me, that would be a red flag. That would at least be cause enough for further investigation.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, like, noticing it's a skill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A skill that you now have been forced to learn.
I think I'm very good at it now. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's harder to give. I think it'd be easier if I could watch a video and point out things to notice.
But you had told me that you just wish someone would
have. Yeah. As far as how to be a safe space, I think would be talking to the girl in private, for sure. Or the victim, the male, whoever's the victim, in private. And one, just being just so soft, sweet, kind, and gentle. Nothing aggressive or harsh. Like, speak to her like she's someone that needs help, because she does, in a kind, soft way. And pointing out behaviors. That's the biggest thing that I wish I had, was that someone told me that what I was experiencing was abuse and wasn't okay. Because I had so many interactions with police, with people on the outside that witnessed it, but never came to me and told me, this is abuse. And I wish someone would have told me that in a kind, loving way. Because I was so brainwashed and manipulated. It was so hard for me to see my abuse. But if someone else from the outside said it, it would have at least dropped a seed. And if that seed did nothing in that moment, it would for sure have sprouted and become a tree when I was ready to leave. It would have made that so much stronger, because I would have been like, wait, I remember that time. But I really do think in the moment it would have shifted my thinking too, which is what I needed because I was so indoctrinated and deep in the brainwashing that if someone just penetrated that with what they were seeing and telling me the reality of what they were seeing, it at least starts some new thinking.
Grow the seed.
Yeah.
I think planting the seed is probably...
Planting the seed. Yeah. I wish that people planted seeds for me. I think way too often people are quiet and don't know what to say, and I think 9 times out of 10, planting the seed is the right thing to do.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I want to commend you on your courage to share, and so happy you are out and healing. In the interview-style videos, I noticed you two are wearing the same clothes in all of them. Was that all one long day that you had to sit in that chair and let them talk for hours?
June 5th, 2022. That was...
Day from hell.
Oh, day from hell. That was a whole day, yeah, that I had to sit for hours. But that was a whole day after he had kept me up all night. And a day from hell the day before where he was trying to get another man out there to abuse me with him. So it was a whole, I mean, I don't even know if we slept at the end of the June 5th day, but a lot happened that day. There was a lot of abuse that day. He was restricting my water that day. That was the day that he first shot at me. So it was one long day. I think those interviews started around like 10 a.m. I mean, I have an audio recording from that day that's 3 hours. So it was just a long, long, long day. And I remember the day ending with a long 3-hour or so conversation with his mom too. So it was a very long, brutal day full of interview, interrogations, beating, and sexual abuse. So yeah, it was a brutal day.
Nightmare. But look where we're at.
Look where we're at. Now we're in a tree.
Oh, we got the valley.
There's an ant on you, but it's okay.
Hey, buddy. You coming to hang out? Curious, just because this is something I've wondered about myself. Do you think your abuse had contributed to your interest in parkour, craving an adrenaline rush after running on it for so long?
Okay, 2 parts of this question. One, my abuse was a catalyst for parkour, but not in the adrenaline sense. It was a catalyst because I was living in a place that had a loft, and I worried that if he ever came and pushed me off the loft, I wouldn't know how to fall properly. So that's what got me into parkour. And also, besides that, I always thought it'd be really cool to like jump from roof to roof to roof. But as far as adrenaline, adrenaline has nothing to do with it personally. Parkour is all about facing your fear and navigating through experiencing the emotion of fear. And that's what I love about it. I actually hate when I experience adrenaline because the only other time that I've experienced adrenaline, like the adrenaline that I have experienced in parkour, is in moments of abuse or in moments of complete terror of my ex. And so facing adrenaline in parkour was actually very, very triggering and very, very challenging. But I love parkour because it's all about being face to face with fear and navigating the fear.
And there's all different kinds of parkour athletes. You have people that get anxious and you have people that full send. And like the people that get anxious, they may not be doing roof gaps, right? But they are doing vaults, and those are really scary. And the fear you face, like jumping from doing a small jump all the way to up to a roof gap, is the same fear. Parkour attracts people that want to learn how to handle their fears more so than are seeking thrills.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I love about parkour. It's really helped me navigate experiencing fear.
More like yoga, more like meditation at times.
Yeah, it really is.
There's times I'll finish like a session and I'll be like, that was like a spiritual experience.
It is. Yeah. It's
like,
kind of like what I was explaining with like facing resistance, except now you're facing fear and being able to hold yourself through that process and get to the other side of it.
Yeah. And also like adrenaline doesn't last for like weeks, but I will ride the high of doing like a roof gap for like a month. like I fucking killed that. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That's not adrenaline. That's me 3 weeks from now. Pat myself on the back. So no. that parkour for us has been a very spiritually healing
Yeah.
thing, and it has nothing to do with
Adrenaline.
adrenaline.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But great question.
Great question. I love seeing the rain. Going on a big question haul for this one. Got an ant on you.
Hi, Ant.
Hey, buddy. This comment has a lot of questions, so we're going to go one by one. Bye, Ant. Did he tell you why he is taking you to the desert, and did your mom know what you were going through or what he was always like?
So he wanted to go there because he said that Death Valley was his favorite place. So that's why he wanted to go there specifically. And he didn't tell me anything beyond that. I don't know how premeditated it was. I think it's obvious that once we were on the desert, he was intentional with his abuse, and it was planned. But I don't know how planned it was before we got on the desert. I want to say I don't think it was. But also right before the desert was the first time I started to speak up. I had done so much work. We were having problems. Like, we were not a happy couple. And I had done so much work, putting work into our marriage and trying to make sure that we were a happy couple and, like, looking at myself. And I had done that so intently for so long that I finally got to the point where I was like, it's not me. I'm not bringing these problems. And I wrote a long note that I'm going to share at some point, preparing me for a conversation that I was going to have with him about these issues. And I did bring it up with him. And that was just a couple weeks before the desert. So I definitely think that that played a role, because for the first time I was waking up and I was calling him on his behavior, and I was identifying that he was being abusive and he was the problem. And I do not find it to be a coincidence that the abuse got so extreme right after that. Did my mom know what he was like or know what I was going through? Is that it?
Yes.
My mom had concerns that he was like a con man, but she definitely didn't know what I was going through. She also thought that he had caught me cheating with dozens of men, because that's what he was telling everyone. So everyone thought that we were going through a crisis on the desert, but that it was me, that I was bringing problems to the marriage, and I had just been exposed of, like, having a double life and cheating and all of these things. So my mom was under the impression that really, like, I was being the problem.
Does his mom know, and did you ever get to tell her what her son has done to you?
I told her everything that he did to me. So yes, she does know.
When did you first have that feeling and thought, I want to get out of here?
I had it, I don't know the first time I had it. I just know when things got really, really bad, I just wanted out. I don't remember the first time. I remember just being very, very scared as soon as he announced that he thought he was Jesus. I remember being pretty scared. And I actually found some notes. I was sharing with him articles I was reading about, like, religious psychosis, and trying to share that with him. But I would say it was around then that I was like, this is a bad situation that I don't want to be in.
Did he respond angrily when you shared that with him?
I, picked a good day, a good moment when he wasn't too insane. And he was kind of open to it. He wasn't that defensive. And actually, it didn't come back around to bite me, which is surprising. Yeah. I think it was a topic he just didn't want to go to, because he enjoyed believing that he was Jesus anyway.
Yeah. After the desert, did you ever get to talk to him about all the abuse and pain he put you through?
I tried to talk to him about the sexual abuse. And he was just like, what are you saying? I raped you? And I'm like, well...
The shoe fits!
And that was basically it. And then in court for my protective order hearing, I mouthed to him
in the middle of the hearing, you know what you did. Because he was just staring at me and smiling and he was being so obnoxious. The judge told him off at certain points too. But like that was my one moment to say something to him, and I said, you know what you did.
Badass. Mentally, what kept you going? Like, how did you survive?
I think it was all of the natural survival instincts that just kicked in, like the fawning and the dissociation. I really think that I lucked out by dissociating, you know, like my brain was I was just shut down and off, and that kept me going. And then it was just like, just acceptance, like, which maybe that wasn't the right thing to do, but
No.
I accepted.
It was the survival thing you did.
Yeah.
There was no right and wrong in this situation.
I just accepted the situation I was in and, you know, dealt with what I had to deal with. But really, I think there weren't things that I was telling myself. Like, I wasn't like, just get through one more day, or like, I was thinking I was the problem in all of this. Like, I would go outside and like be on my knees, like asking for clarity and to like make me stop being the problem. So it was not, I was thinking I was deserving of all of it. So there wasn't I just need to make it through. Like, I was like, I am here because I deserve to be here and I deserve this treatment.
That's what makes it psychological torture.
Yeah.
Is the fact that you believed that. Because
Yeah.
there is zero circumstances where that's ever the case.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching part 2. Thanks for listening to my story.
It's been a blast, guys. 5 hours of hiking down. I want to be like the stupidest thing I've ever done. Wait, yeah. We kind of killed that.
I kind of want to add like a boom.
Boom.